Good Blue, Bad Blue. I'm back again, ladies and gentlemen. First episode of 2026. We are finally in the calendar year 2026, and this is going to be a fun episode as conference play has started. So that's what we're going to be talking about here a little bit. We got the first couple of games for Carolina and Duke in the ACC. Got a lot to talk about. I think a lot of things are shaping up. A lot of things are changing on the national level. Maybe I'm finally buying in on certain teams. But let's dive into Carolina first and foremost. They played Florida State with their first conference game. Carolina beating them by 13. The game was actually pretty close. This game was actually pretty close. Florida State always kind of gives Carolina a little bit of a trouble, even though Florida State obviously with a new coach. I don't know. It was a weird game. It was your typical Carolina Florida State game. I was very surprised in the fact that Carolina has not lost a home game to Florida State in like 15 years. That is a shocker to me because I feel like Florida State beats us like once a year. I feel like whether it's on the road in Tallahassee or in Chapel Hill. So I thought that was a very weird stat, but that was a good game. It was a very tight game. Carolina starting off 1-0, 1-0 at home. They have a very tough conference schedule, which we talked about on last episode. But Carolina getting that win was very good. Because Florida State actually, they're not as bad as they were last year. They're 7-7 overall right now. But yeah, Carolina never really pulled away. Caleb Wilson with 22 and 16 and also 6 assists. The guy's unbelievable. This was definitely a game where he was unbelievable. You could tell that he knew he kind of had to take over the way that things were going, and he did really take over in this game. But Carolina overall, I feel like I kind of liked what they did. Let's see. Bogovac did not score. Luka with 0 points again, 0 of 5 from the field. Only played 13 minutes. As Jonathan Powell got a lot of playing time there with 26 minutes. Only had 6 points as well. But Trimble had 20. Kyan Evans had 15. Did okay in the first half. Second half, his shot kind of went away a little bit. But overall, this was a good win for Carolina. I think this is an underrated win. Not too many people are going to remember it, but come the end of the year, I think this could actually be a low-key good win. Then Carolina goes to SMU, their first trip to SMU as a conference opponent. Southern Methodist with only one loss on the year, or 2 losses on the year, and boy, did they play good. They did not miss a shot. Shot like 70%. In the second half, I think. Beat Carolina by 14, 97-83. Maybe I'm just optimistic for Carolina, or maybe I just don't believe in SMU enough. But I don't think SMU is that great. I think, they put up 97. They scored. They couldn't miss. This was a hot game. This was their biggest home conference game since joining the ACC. Even though there were a lot of Carolina fans there, but I'm not sold on SMU. I know a lot of people might be like, oh, maybe SMU is really good. I don't think they're that good. I think maybe they will end up in the NCAA tournament, but I'll be shocked if they make it past the first weekend. I still think Carolina is a better team than them. I think just sometimes in college basketball you go on the road and things just don't go your way, and the score looks worse than it was. I actually think this game was closer than the 14-point score at the end. Carolina actually didn't play that bad. It was just SMU couldn't miss. Like I said, they were just shooting threes. Yeah, sure, some of them were open, but still, they didn't miss. They just never really missed. This was the first, you could say the first bad game for Caleb Wilson, only with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Henry Vassir also not doing too well with only 14 points. Trimble was the leading scorer with 22. Luka had 8 finally. Stevenson with 16. It was good to see Stevenson finally having a really big game, finally kind of showing what he can do. I think he actually fits perfect in that game, and the fact that it was up and down and SMU was kind of willing to let people get some open shots, and that's where Stevenson can do really well. So it was good to see him finally have a really good game that we've kind of expected from him. But Carolina falls to 1-1 in the conference. Like I said, man, they got a tough schedule. They get a week off and they play Wake Forest at home. Then they go to Stanford and to Cal back-to-back. Both those games can be really tough. Then they play Notre Dame at home. Notre Dame's not looking that bad. Then they go to Virginia, and then they play Georgia Tech. The ACC is actually pretty loaded this year, and I think the conference could be wide open. I actually think you could have 8 or 9 teams, basically battling for a top 4 spot come the end of the year. I said before that Carolina needed to get out of January with probably 2 losses at max. Well, they've already lost 1, and they have 6 games left in the conference. So if they can go 5-1 over these next 6 games, I'll be really impressed. I think probably losing at Virginia might be a foregone conclusion because Carolina never really wins there, and also Virginia being really good again this year. Although Virginia does play a better style of basketball now, they play more up tempo. Could play into Carolina's favor, but that might be the one loss. If Carolina can win the other 5 games, I think that's really solid. I think, if they don't stumble and lose one of those games, I mean, but you could very easily, lose at Stanford or lose at Cal or lose at home to Notre Dame. I think I think they should win at Georgia Tech, and I think they should win at home against Wake Forest. But you never really know. It is conference play, and like I said, I think the ACC is pretty loaded this year. But Carolina with a super strong schedule coming up, so it's gonna be tough. They're ranked number 17 right now. They're ranked number 17, so they dropped down a little bit. I think that's probably about where they should be. I still think they're a top 15 team, but 17 sounds about right. Let's switch over to Duke now. Duke ranked number 6 currently. They've also played 2 conference games. They won by 6 at home to Georgia Tech, and then they went on the road and won at Florida State by 4. So 2 super close games. Carolina beating Florida State by 13 at home. Duke beating Florida State by 4 on the road. I actually think Duke has gotten very lucky in both of these games. I think the Georgia Tech game, free throws were the big difference. Duke shot a lot of free throws. Georgia Tech couldn't get to the free throw line. Against Florida State, Duke kind of just made shots when they had to. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. I don't think Duke is good. I think I said that on the last episode, but I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I don't think Boozer is as good as Cooper Flagg. I don't think Boozer is as good as everybody thinks he is. Everybody keeps talking about him maybe being the best freshman. I don't think he is the best freshman. I think he's probably the 3rd best freshman in the country. But Duke's pulled out 2 wins, so they're 2-0 in the conference. I mean, you can't be hating on that. Like, how much more do you expect? Like I said, AC could be loaded this year, but I personally think Duke is not as good as they are. Their next game is at Louisville, which happens tonight. It's actually about to start any minute now. Louisville will be without one of their key players. Wouldn't surprise me if Duke wins that game. Obviously, I would hope that Louisville can win. I actually think Louisville should win. And then Duke after that plays SMU. It's at Duke, but that could be a loss as well. SMU now in the top 25. Then Duke goes to Cal. Duke goes to Stanford. Duke plays at home against Wake, at home against Louisville. So 2 very quick games against Louisville. And then Duke goes on the road to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech all of a sudden looks like that team from when they had Seth Greenberg that could pull off some upsets. Duke with a very tough January schedule as well. Obviously winning the first one, but they have 7 games left in the month of January. I'm going to say the same thing as I said for Carolina. I think if Duke can come out of this with 2 losses, I'll be very impressed. 2 or less, I'll be very impressed. But you got to think, they play 3 ranked teams coming up. And honestly, man, it would not surprise me if Duke comes out of this month with 3 losses, maybe even 4 losses. They got 7 games left. This is going to be a tough month for Duke. Tough month for a lot of the ACC teams. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. Let's switch it over now. Like I said, this will be a quick episode. I'm by myself. Still no Brandon. Switch over to the conference in general. I say there's 8 or 9 teams that you could be watching out for. Yeah, Duke and Clemson are the 2 teams that are 2-0. Only 2 teams that are 0-2 are Florida State and Pittsburgh. You have a bunch of teams 1-1. 2 other teams are 1-0, Miami and SMU. Honestly, right now, on January 6th, I think the top 3 teams in the conference, I actually think Virginia might be the best team in the conference. I think maybe Carolina and Louisville are right below them. I think that's your top 3 in the conference. I think 4th place could be Duke, could be Clemson. I think you got a couple other teams in there as well that could be. I think Stanford and Cal, you don't sleep on them. Miami, who knows what's going on with Miami? But yeah, I think the ACC is going to be very tough this year. Right now, I think Virginia is probably my pick to win. I kind of really hate to say that just because, man, you were kind of hoping that they were going to go away for a couple of years, but they're back, man. Their new style of play, it's working pretty well. So They're pretty good. Let's go now to the whole top 25, the national top 25. Arizona is still number one. Michigan number two. I think I've bought in on Michigan being really good. I think I'm there now. I'm there now with Michigan being a great team. I really do. I think I'm with it now. They've won what 3 straight games against ranked opponents, or they've won 3 games by 30 points or more. It's insane what their offense is doing. I've bought in, man. I've bought in. It's kind of crazy. Nebraska all of a sudden in the top 10, which is insane. 15-0 for like the first time ever, maybe, or something like that. It's a weird year, man. It's a very weird year. I think you're seeing some teams that are up there that aren't normally up there, but I'm going to go ahead and pick my Final Four. Well, first of all, I'm going to pick one team in the top 10 that I do not believe in, and that one team is BYU. Ranked number 9 right now, 13-1. Carolina played them in an exhibition game. I don't believe in BYU. I don't think BYU is that great. I really don't. I think they're going to fall eventually. I think they're going to hard fall, and I'll be shocked if they make it past the second week in the NCAA tournament. Now, let's pick my Final Four teams. I'm going Michigan. I think Michigan makes the Final Four. I really do. I think they make the Final Four. Like I said, I've bought in. I'm in. I've bought in. And it's kind of funny because I actually do not really see a surprise team in the Final Four anymore. I think this is just a top-heavy. I think this is just kind of a top-heavy group now. So I'm gonna go Michigan. Okay, I'm still gonna go UConn. Still think UConn gets there. They're 14-1 right now. Still think UConn gets back to the Final Four again. Gonzaga, who's number 8 in the country right now, at 16-1. I think Mark Few gets back to the Final Four. And for my fourth team, I think it's a toss-up between 2 teams also in the top 10 currently. But I'm going to go Iowa State. I think they've just been knocking on the door for a little bit now. And I think it's time that they finally get there. So Iowa State will be my fourth team that I predict to make the Final Four. So I got Michigan, UConn, Gonzaga, Iowa State as my Final Four right now on January 6th. We'll review the tape at the end of the year, see if I'm correct. Also, go back and watch some of our other episodes to see how my predictions for the Final Four have changed, what my thoughts on Carolina, what my thoughts on Duke have changed throughout the year so far. And Good Blue, Bad Blue, look us up on YouTube. We're on the Podcast Hell channel. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment. Tell me what you think. And until next time, we will check you later.